A lot of times when people feel that you love them, they start using it against you to manipulate.
Exclusive bombshell. Tennis rising star Alexandra Ella has ignited what may be the most explosive celebrity feud of 2026 after a stunning showdown with rap icon Nicki Minaj, capped by the chilling declaration, "I will never appear with you." This wasn't a routine industry spat or a few shady Instagram posts, it was a jaw-dropping collision between two entirely different worlds, so unexpected and so intense that it instantly shattered the internet. The moment unfolded with such drama and finality that fans were left stunned, watching as an insult reportedly changed everything. What makes this clash so extraordinary isn't just the personalities involved, but the sheer improbability of their paths crossing at all two separate universes colliding in a way no one saw coming, and the fallout is only just beginning. These two worlds should never have intersected in the first place, and yet here we are, witnessing the absolute chaos that erupted when they did. On one side stands Alexandra Ella, the 20-year-old tennis sensation from the Philippines who has been tearing through the WTA Tour like a force of nature. Fresh off a stunning victory over Olympic silver medalist Donna at the ASB Classic in Auckland, Ella represents everything admired in professional sport: disciplined, humble, relentlessly hard-working, and carrying the pride of an entire nation every time she steps onto the court. She is grace under pressure personified, a symbol of perseverance and dedication, and the kind of role model young athletes around the world are encouraged to emulate. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum stands Nicki Minaj, the self-proclaimed queen of rap, a global superstar who has built an empire on controversy, towering confidence, and an unapologetic persona that has made her both adored and criticized in equal measure. And that contrast is exactly where this story takes a sharp and unexpected turn. This is the part nobody wants to say out loud, but everyone has been whispering about for months. Nicki Minaj's star has been dimming. Between controversial political alignments that alienated large portions of her fan base, multiple Instagram deactivations that reeked of crisis management, and a growing sense that the cultural zeitgeist may be moving on without her, the rap superstar has been scrambling to reclaim her throne. Behind the scenes, her team was reportedly in full panic mode, desperately searching for anything that could shift the narrative away from mounting negativity and back toward the empowering female icon image that once made her untouchable. What was meant to be a calculated PR masterstroke, a strategic crossover between sports and entertainment designed to elevate both sides, instead detonated into a full-blown international controversy. Now people from Manila to Los Angeles are choosing sides, defending their champions with passion. As allegations of xenophobia surface, reports emerge of an entire country being dismissed as irrelevant, and a fast-growing boycott movement threatens to shake a multi-million-dollar music empire to its core, and that may be the most shocking twist of all. Reports now suggest that the confrontation ended with a notoriously tough rapper breaking down in tears, a revelation that shocks even those following the headlines on social media. But if you think you know this story, you haven't seen anything yet. We've secured exclusive insider details, first-hand accounts from people who were actually in the room, and a complete breakdown of how a simple business meeting spiraled into a full-scale cultural war that has the entire world watching. So buckle up, grab your snacks, and prepare to witness the most detailed, explosive, and unbelievable account of the feud that everyone is talking about but nobody has fully explained until now. To understand the magnitude of what went down, we need to set the stage. The year is 2026, and Alexandra Ella is no longer just a promising junior player quietly whispered about in tennis circles. She has arrived, announcing her presence with authority after a breakthrough 2025 season that saw her crack the top 50 in world rankings and become a legitimate national hero in the Philippines, a country without a long history of producing elite tennis players, yet one that has wholeheartedly embraced her as one of their own. Ella kicked off 2026 with a kind of momentum and confidence that made this collision with a global superstar all the more inevitable and explosive. Alexandra Ella's 2026 season has been nothing short of electrifying, capturing the attention of even casual tennis fans with performances that demand notice. Just days ago, she pulled off a stunning upset over Croatian veteran and Olympic silver medalist Donna in Paris, a match that showcased her mental toughness and refusal to surrender, even when the odds were stacked against her. After dropping the first set 4-6 and finding herself trailing a far more experienced opponent, Ella could have succumbed to doubt. Instead, she dug deep, tapped into a level of skill and determination that few had seen, and fought back to take the next two sets 6-4, 6-4, completing a comeback that left the crowd in Auckland on their feet and sent shockwaves through the tennis world. This wasn't a fluke or a lucky day. It was a clear declaration that Ella belongs at the top, capable of competing with and defeating players with accomplishments she is still chasing. True to form, She remained humble in victory, telling reporters that after a tough pre-season, she was simply proud to show up and compete at the highest level. Given everything that had unfolded in recent months, Alexandra Ella took a moment after her victories to thank her supporters back home, switching into Tagalog to say maraming salamat to the Filipino fans who have been with her since the very beginning. She's not just making headlines in singles. She's also making waves in doubles, recently teaming up with American teenager Ivic to defeat tennis legends Venus Williams and former world number 1 Aline Svitolina. Ella is rubbing shoulders with royalty, winning matches she was expected to lose, and carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire Southeast Asian nation every time she steps onto the court wearing the Philippine flag on her jersey. This is a young woman who knows exactly who she is, where she comes from, and what she represents, and that clarity will soon become critically important. Now, turning to Nicki Minaj, understanding her situation is key to seeing why this collaboration was proposed in the first place and why it spiraled into disaster. Anyone following pop culture over the past year knows that Nicki has been navigating a rough patch. The woman who once dominated the charts, redefined what it meant to be a female rapper in a male-dominated industry, and built an empire on her unstoppable personality has been facing challenges that have shaken both her image and her influence. Despite her undeniable talent, Nicki Minaj has been facing wave after wave of controversy and backlash, leaving even her most devoted fans questioning, what's happening? Her alignment with controversial political figures cost her dearly in public goodwill, alienating supporters who had long admired the empowering, independent image she had cultivated. On top of that, her social media presence became erratic, marked by multiple deactivations and reactivations that suggested uncertainty about navigating a rapidly changing cultural landscape. The music industry, ever quick to sense weakness and faster to move on to the next big thing, was already whispering that Nicki's reign at the top might be waning. Her team recognized the brewing crisis and knew something dramatic had to happen, a pivot that would remind the world of the Nicki Minaj they once loved. The one who championed female empowerment, inspired millions of young women to be unapologetically themselves, and built an empire on confidence, audacity, and unstoppable personality. Nicki Minaj's team knew they needed a bold, dramatic move, a pivot that would remind the world of the Nicki everyone once adored, the Nicki who championed female empowerment, independence, and inspired millions of young women to be unapologetically themselves. On paper, their strategy was clever. Rather than trying to win back fans through music alone or directly addressing controversies, they decided to attach Nicki's brand to the next generation of global female icons. But they didn't want another rapper reality star, or someone from the same entertainment sphere Nicki already dominated. They wanted someone from a completely different world, someone with spotless credibility, undeniable talent, and an impeccable work ethic whose very presence could rehabilitate Nicki's image. That person was Alexandra Ella, a young, internationally recognized athlete from the Philippines, a woman of color who had overcome countless obstacles to compete at the highest levels of her sport, whose grace, discipline, and inspirational story could make Nicki look good simply by standing next to her. It was supposed to be a perfect plan, mutually beneficial for both parties, and it should have been flawless. The plan was supposed to work. According to exclusive sources with direct knowledge of the negotiations, the initial approach came in the form of what Ella's camp internally called a golden ticket offer. Nicki Minaj, preparing for a new album cycle framed as a triumphant return to form, reached out to Ella's management with a proposal most 20-year-old athletes would jump at instantly. They wanted Alexandra Ella to be a VIP guest at Nicki's ultra-exclusive album launch in Los Angeles, an event packed with entertainment industry heavyweights and global media coverage. But that was only the beginning. The deal also included a joint promotional campaign for a high-end athletic brand, putting Ella's face alongside Nicki's in marketing materials reaching millions worldwide. The exposure alone was priceless, and the financial compensation substantial enough that ignoring it would have been irresponsible. For a brief moment, everything seemed on track. Ella, like many young women her age, had grown up listening to Nicki's music and absorbing her messages of female empowerment and independence, and the platform this collaboration offered was nothing short of massive, an opportunity to elevate her career, expand her global reach, and stand shoulder to shoulder with one of the most iconic figures in entertainment. The opportunity had the potential to transform Alexandra Ella from a tennis star known primarily to sports fans into a bona fide crossover celebrity with global name recognition, and both camps were thrilled at the possibilities. Preliminary agreements were underway, and everyone thought they had found the perfect partnership. But that's when the first warning signs appeared, signaling that this collaboration might not be the smooth, mutually beneficial arrangement everyone envisioned. Sources close to the negotiations report that as discussions moved from broad outlines to specific details, the demands from Nicki Minaj's team became increasingly controlling. They didn't just want Ella to attend the launch and smile for a few photos, they wanted to dictate every aspect of her presence, styling her from head to toe to match Nicki's aesthetic rather than her established image as a serious athlete, scripting her interviews and social media posts, controlling how she posed for photographs, and even deciding which angles would be used to convey the right message. In essence, according to those reviewing the contracts, they sought to strip away everything that made Alexandra Ella herself, threatening to overshadow the young athlete's identity with a manufactured version tailored entirely to Nicki's brand. Instead of embracing Alexandra Ella as a collaborator in her own right, Nicki Minaj's team seemed intent on reducing her to a carefully constructed accessory designed solely to make Nicki look good. They wanted the legitimacy and goodwill that came from associating with an accomplished athlete, but not the athlete herself. They wanted a prop, a decoration, a Barbie doll they could style, pose, and position however they pleased. Ella's team began raising concerns, pushing back on the most extreme demands and trying to negotiate terms that would preserve her image and autonomy while still allowing the collaboration to work. But Minaj's team was uninterested in compromise. Their vision required Ella to effectively surrender her identity for the partnership. Tensions mounted, and both sides began to question whether this could succeed. Yet everyone pressed forward, hoping that a face-to-face meeting would smooth over disputes and create a genuine connection. They couldn't have been more wrong. The turning point came during what was meant to be a casual preliminary mixer in Los Angeles, a pre-party gathering designed to introduce the collaborators in a relaxed setting, take a few teaser photos, and leave both parties excited about working together. That's not what happened. Multiple witnesses report that when Alexandra Ella arrived in smart casual attire that reflected her identity as a professional athlete, polished, poised, and clearly herself, the events that followed shocked everyone present and set off a chain reaction that would ultimately implode the entire collaboration. Ella entered the room confident, poised, and ready to connect without being overly formal, genuinely excited about the meeting and still seeing the collaboration as a positive opportunity, despite the increasingly concerning contract negotiations. But from the moment she arrived, the atmosphere was tense. Something felt off, though no one could immediately pinpoint what. When Nicki Minaj entered and was introduced to Alexandra Ella, the greeting was nothing like anyone expected from two women about to embark on a major collaboration. Multiple eyewitnesses reported that, instead of a warm handshake or an enthusiastic hello, Nicki gave Ella a cold up-and-down appraisal that felt dismissive and judgmental, the kind of look that instantly put someone on the defensive, silently saying, "I'm evaluating whether you're worth my time, rather than I'm excited to meet you." The energy in the room shifted immediately, chatter and laughter died, and everyone watched, tense, as the meeting unfolded. The plan had included casual preliminary photos to tease the collaboration on social media, but the charged atmosphere made even these simple moments fraught with unease. The photographer began setting up to take the preliminary photos meant to build anticipation for the collaboration, but that's when things started to unravel. Following instructions from Minaj's team, he asked Alexandra Ella to pose in a way multiple witnesses described as provocative and completely at odds with her professional image, a pose more suited for a music video or a fashion shoot aimed at male audiences, not a serious athlete determined to be recognized for her strength and skill. To her credit, Ella politely but firmly declined, reportedly saying, "I'm an athlete and I want to be represented as strong, not just decorative." In any reasonable world, that boundary should have been respected, and the photographer could have adjusted the pose and moved on. Instead, witnesses say Nicki Minaj laughed a cold, sharp, cutting laugh, clearly dismissive and mocking rather than friendly or awkward. She then turned to members of her entourage, a group of assistants and managers, making it clear that Alexandra's refusal had not gone unnoticed and setting the stage for a confrontation that would escalate in ways nobody present could have predicted. And then the comments started flying. Members of Nicki Minaj's entourage, the assistants and hangers-on who follow every major celebrity move, began mocking Alexandra Ella's refusal to pose the way they wanted. "Who does she think she is?" one person reportedly said loudly enough for multiple people, including Ella herself, to hear. Others questioned why they were even bothering with the collaboration if Ella was going to be difficult. The room went from tense to openly hostile in seconds. But none of those remarks compared to what came next, the moment that transformed an uncomfortable business meeting into an international incident. That morning, an unprecedented tweet appeared briefly on Nicki Minaj's account. Plain text, uncharacteristically somber and vulnerable, reading simply, "I forgot what it felt like to climb. I'm sorry." Deleted almost immediately, likely under management pressure, the message was nonetheless captured by the internet forever. Everyone knew what it meant. Even without naming Alexandra, the industry and fans recognized it. The apology was directed at the 20-year-old tennis player who refused to be a plaything and reminded a superstar of who she once was. The collaboration is now dead, the album rollout in shambles, and Nicki's team scrambling to salvage their plans. But from the wreckage emerges something far more powerful. Alexandra Ella has transcended tennis. She is no longer just an admired athlete, she has become a symbol of integrity, of knowing who you are and refusing to compromise for money, fame, or influence. By standing firm, she showed the world that power doesn't always come from loudness, celebrity, or aggression. Sometimes it comes from dignity, truth, and the courage to remain yourself. She refused to be a prop, refused to let her country be dismissed, and in doing so, she brought a global superstar to her knees not with attacks or theatrics, but with grace, clarity, and unwavering principle. As Ella continues her 2026 season, representing the Philippines with the same pride and determination she always has, one thing is clear. The world now knows exactly where the Philippines stands center stage, shining bright. The Philippines now shines brighter than ever, represented by a young woman who proved that character matters more than fame. As for Nicki Minaj, she faces a long, difficult road if she hopes to rehabilitate her image and reconnect with the values that originally made her successful, and she can thank a 20-year-old tennis player for delivering the wake-up call that might just save her career and legacy. This story is still unfolding, and we'll be the first to bring updates if Nicki issues a full public apology, if Alexandra responds to the deleted tweet, or if any other developments emerge in this ongoing saga. But I want to hear from you. Do you think Nicki's tears and her deleted apology were genuine, or just another calculated PR move to save face? And did Alexandra do the right thing by walking away from a potentially million-dollar opportunity to stand up for herself and her country, or should she have tried to make it work and leverage the platform for good? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one and love hearing what you all think about this incredible, real-life showdown.